All right, Cancer, welcome to your monthly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for November of 2015. My name is Athen. This is for Sidereal Astrology, so if you're new to this type of astrology, do check the description down below because your sign might be different. And Cancer, what I'm going to start doing for these monthlies is I'm not going to look at all the exact minor aspects taking place because it gets very convoluted and it sort of confuses matters. But I'll be covering those in the weekly. So if you want more information, more specific information on these more general monthly readings that I'm going to do check your weeklies for that particular week that you're wanting to look at. So Cancer, so right at the beginning of the month, right on the 1st, we have a conjunction between Venus and Mars from the 1st to the 4th. And that conjunction, interestingly, is going to be right as they go into the constellation of Virgo, which is your third house. So there's already been a lot of emphasis of your third house with the sun here, Mercury here, the last new moon was here, which is about communication. It's about socializing. It's about learning, writing, things like that. So anything new that you have started there over the past few weeks from the 1st, there's a lot more of the daily energy going in here, which is Venus and Mars. There's motivation, there's drive to maybe express yourself, maybe to write, to communicate, to socialize. Venus here means you can enjoy it quite a bit, actually. So it's a very passionate energy, actually. It's yin-yang energy combined. And here it's in the realm of your thoughts and communications, which could be, again, maybe you're connecting to peers, siblings, socializing, creating some of you might be writing books, some of you might be, just doing more of that, mental and communicative stuff. And like I said, very enjoyable, very motivating, and continuing with a lot of those new beginnings can culminate this stuff over the next few months. So that's right at the 1st. And then on the 5th, we do have this transition, and the transition's going into your 4th house of home and family, past and roots. This is the sun going into Libra on the 5th, followed by Mercury on the 10th. And, this is a focus. So I think the focus is going to shift this, second week of the month to home matters, family matters. This is where the new moon's going to take place on the 11th, actually. So planting new seeds around this. Some of you might be, connecting to home, connecting to family, renovating, things like that. But it is a subtle energy this month. You'll feel this energy building more so in the next couple of weeks, from the tail end of this month, but also the next 6 months, which is where you're going to have a full moon here, 6 months from now. So good time to take care of things too around that sector and express yourself there. And planting those new seeds is really the theme. Now, one thing I want to say about this first half of the month is that Jupiter is still transiting your second house, and he's going to be opposing up to Chiron here from the 1st to the 8th. So there is expansion. There is a lot of positive energy for you guys to pursue your values, especially on the material realm. So if it's financial, if it's assets, material, but whatever your values are, there is this optimism about it, and there is this expansion, these doors opening that Jupiter's providing. Of course, we have to walk through those doors, but the openings are there. Now, there might be some healing around this. It's not going to be like a healing like as if it was Saturn or something like it. It's a lot more positive because it's a benefic. So I think just by the 8th and 9th, as this aspect goes out of orb, there is just this rejuvenation. There's just this healing that's taking place regarding your ability to pursue your values. And it could be, again, financial or whatever, but your values in life in terms of how you perceive them and even your confidence and self-esteem is going through this sort of healing process and this rejuvenation after. So continue to expand. I think the more energy you do put into that second house at the early part of the month, then it's just more healing taking place. Of course, this is, a healing that's been about the deeper aspects of life. You've had Neptune and Chiron transiting your 8th house. This is about going with the flow, with the beginnings and endings, changes of life in general, and healing old wounds, really in the deep elements of the self. But when you're seeing that, there is all this beautiful enjoyment in the physical realm, at the same time, what do these things really mean? What is the deeper meaning of them? What is it that they're actually giving you on a spiritual level, if you will, an emotional level? These kinds of questions helps balance out that second house and helps you see the upside too in terms of the importance of beginnings and endings, non-attachment to these physical things, etc. But anyways, rejuvenation in both areas nonetheless. Now, the second half of the month, we do have Neptune on the 18th going station direct. And what's interesting is right when Neptune goes station direct, Saturn goes within orb of a square up to Neptune. So this is from the 18th all the way into December, and it's going to have its high point on the 26th, which is about the uncertainty. There's been a lot of uncertainty, a lot of Neptune energy with the oppositions, and now with a square from Saturn. That is really about the future. It's about the unfoldment of events in terms of what we're building in our life. Now, for you, it's particularly relating to what you're building with your creation or with your self-expression. Saturn's recently gone into your 5th house of Scorpio last month. So there's been this sort of seriousness to how you express yourself, to how you have fun even. But the real, blessing of this is that Saturn's helping you see that you can have these passions, you can have these things that you feel like you want to create and really ground them and make them into something real and long lasting. So that's the approach to Saturn in the 5th, although it sometimes feels like there's a dampening of having fun, but it's so you can prolong it and turn it into something constructive and make your creations long lasting. But with a square up to Neptune, maybe there's uncertainty about those things, whatever it is. If it's a business for some of you might be, romance or something like that, anything that we feel passionate about, but or normally feel passionate about. But with Neptune, it's uncertainty, right? So the more willing we are to go into the unknown, to have that uncertainty and go with the flow, then it becomes constructive, because that's this dose of Neptune in here saying that there is this deeper connection to it. There is this divine process in terms of what's building, what's coming forward. And it may not be easy to integrate, which is the square, but it is happening, and it's obviously happening for the best. So the more we orient ourselves to that, and the more willing and able we are to go with the flow, then it becomes very grounded, and we become consciously in tune with it. So that's from the 18th, highest point on the 26th, so up until the 26th, working on that, and maybe even bringing in more of that, compassion and presence and meditative approach to those creations, so that they do become more meaningful in regards to that. Because again, it's all coming from your 8th house there. All right, so then on the 21st, we have Mercury going into Scorpio. So then there's that shift here at the end of the month where Mercury goes into that 5th house, followed by the Sun on the 24th, which is all about a more focus now from what may have been the emotional, sentimental, home, family stuff in the early part of the month, now shifting into the self-expression, okay? Again, taking it seriously, taking it, in the long road, being patient with it. It's very important, but there's definitely that shift, and this is where you're going to have the new moon here next month as well. So focusing on that, expressing yourself, creating, all of that is definitely a high point for you. Some of you, it might be romantic. Some of you might be involving children, if you have children in your life, things like that. And naturally through this, there's a working energy, there's a practical side to it. So really, turning it into something tangible, turning it into something concrete and long lasting, I think is really the gist of this energy. Then on the 25th, we do have a full moon in Taurus, which is your 11th house. So things are definitely culminating this month in regards to your ideals and visions, interestingly enough. This is the house that has to do with our hopes, our wishes, our dreams, and that's being illuminated. So if over the past 6 months you've been, focused on any ideals, any type of things that you're sort of wishing or dreaming about, it can be a culmination at the very least to where you're seeing the reality of it, because this particular full moon is going to be opposing up to Saturn, which is of course reality, and that Mercury, which is the practical side of it, but squaring up to Neptune. So there is maybe the imagination, there is maybe the vision, there is all of that, but without the dose of the groundedness, without the dose of the practical aspect of it, then it's not in its arrangement. So we want to be grounded, but at the same time, we want to see our vision, we want to see the possibilities, and naturally through that, then this square becomes very strong. Actually, this T-square becomes very strong. It's a very strong transit, and it can be, very concrete. So the key with this is to see those visions, see those ideals. For some of you, it might be things relating to organizations, network, philanthropic things relating to your friends, maybe even income from your work. All of that stuff is culminating, but it is also emphasizing the importance of uncertainty about it, being okay with that, as well as being willing to work hard at it, maybe even some more, or maybe just coming to the truth of the matter about it. Maybe it wasn't exactly how we envisioned. This is not for all of you, but it's this kind of energy. And but there's some great things about it. So it's being grateful for, as you normally are, healthfully with Taurus in that 11th house. And maybe there's some things you can prolong and take it on the next step and continuously grow and expand on that 11th house level for you. So that's going to depend on each of your personal charts, of course, but at the very least, an awareness of what your hopes are, what your wishes are, how to ground that, and maybe even things relating to group stuff or community related stuff. So that's the 25th, and on the 28th, Chiron does go station direct, and that's going to be in that 8th house. So if you've been feeling like things have been sort of in the more internal, reflective nature about spirituality, about depth, about truth, about shared resources, debt, all these things in the 8th, that stuff starts to move forward. Okay, Neptune's going direct this month, followed by Chiron. So that energy begins to move forward and becomes more extroverted, and the beginnings and endings of life, I think, just naturally have an easier sort of serendipitous, flow to them, which is Neptune, and healing energy as well, which is Chiron. A lot of healing taking place. Then on the 29th, we've got Mercury going into a fucus, topping off the rest of the month. So this is just more energy going into that self-expression. But just like for all of you Cancers, Scorpio rules or, is associated with that 5th house of yours, is on the cusp for a lot of you. And so Mercury in a fucus is taking it one step further. So it's expressing the truth. It's expressing yourself from the heart, from the emotions, from what's really meaningful. But with Mercury in a fucus, is all that can be actually quite healing, can be quite transformative actually, especially when you're communicating yourself quite verbally, which is Mercury who rules your 3rd house. Okay, so things are unfolding on that deeper level, but certainly about you expressing yourself, working hard at having more of that fun and joy and playfulness in your life, but in a way that's grounded and in a way that you'll see the same sort of passion in your life or creation in your life, 5 years, 7 years, 10, 14 years from now, with Saturn transiting this part of your chart. All right, Cancer, so have a great month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.